Hello everybody, how are you doing guys? I'm gonna put the chair over down. Okay, welcome to the Spiritual Wednesday. This is a fast, hopefully, energy update for this week in July. And I've been going through really interesting stuff lately. I don't know if you are noticing it. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you do going through some really transformative shifts. For me, it was a COVID. I think I covered a part of it in the video before. I'm still in the recovery, but a lot of things shifted. And I think we are being prepared for some really like a serious transformation. That's at least what happens with me. I went through a identity crisis, and usually identity crisis is actually, even if it's very uncomfortable, but identity crisis is good. I know it sounds kind of funny, but identity crisis is good because you get rid of a lot of attachments that you had to certain things. For me, it was a spiritual practices, and as well, I'm in this period of I don't know how to balance my desire for like creating the content, to doing the artwork, to working on my webpage, putting all the stuff together, like all this kind of like little maintenance. I noticed that like when I was single, it was way easier to do all the maintenance around what I was doing, because I was mainly just working on my stuff, and then like working in the outside world, in the coffee shops and pubs and like public places. But like this time, like it's a little bit more tricky because I'm a parent. So the parenting stuff as well, like with the parenting comes up a lot of your trauma. And for me, it was a catalyst, obviously. And that's why I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, because I became parent. It's my biggest trauma. I always thought that like my biggest trauma lies in the childhood, but it's actually not. But well, I don't want to really talk about trauma stuff, because like we all have our own kind of like traumas, and it has a lot of layers. So like I did some shadow work a couple of days ago, and after the COVID passed, when I was really forced to stop doing absolutely everything and just being present with myself and what is coming up internally. So the month of July, if you're not experiencing it yet, this is information that might help you. It's the month of July is all about getting into the awareness of something that we meant to understood. Hopefully I said it right in English. There is something what each and one of us meant to understood first to move forward. Either be it our purpose work, or either be it our lifestyle or whatever. There is something in your life that you need to understand first, and we need to own it. Like I realized that I'm actually, last year I had some shift that happens usually around the year of 42. I think I spoke about it already last time in the latest video. Usually there is something in astrology that's called, I think, Uranus return or something like that, and you have a different type of energy, and you get more awareness. So you become aware of everything what you went through the past, and you start integrating all the lessons. But the progression is endless. That means there is no such a thing like enlightenment. Just get this enlightenment thing, what is running in the spiritual community, get it out of your head. There is no such a thing. There is just endless progression. That's all there is. on endless expansion. Other thing is like when you ascend, usually for me what ascension means is that you have a contact, or that you are having experience beyond physical, and you understand it and you integrate it, and you come back sort of to with a completely changed consciousness. Your consciousness change. I guess that happens probably rapidly with the Kundalini awakening. If you are just in the spiritual practices and you don't have any like these massive kind of crazy like happenings in your life, then you are just going slowly, surely. Your higher self is organizing it. Your higher self is guiding you through this experience. Your consciousness, where it is, it matters. And the age probably doesn't really matter, like I'm just saying that there is this framework in astrology that usually around the age of 42 you're having certain shift, and you're going, they say you're going through the south node to the north node. The nodes switch, and you're starting to getting more awareness and integrating all the past and everything. I have to say that I didn't actually know about this until a couple of days ago, which is really interesting because I'm repeating certain cycle in my life, and I was like, I know this. I already went through this because my awareness is quite high. Like, I'm aware of a lot of things because I'm an artist. So for me, like I've been all my life, like the single focus for me was kind of easy. So when you are able to focus singularly on one thing, then like it's very easier to channel through. So for me it's not that difficult to actually become good in the focus. I could focus for 4 or 5 hours on doing some drawings, and I always say that, like, for me it's very difficult to to balance all my practices and everything I do, because the art takes extreme amount of the time. It's not just 2 hours of the meditation. 2 hours of the meditation is already extreme. Drawing and painting lesson in the art college is 4 to 5 hours. All right, it's not 20 minutes kriya. So I am used to the long stretch of the time to focus on the things. So for me it was getting really frustrated with like how I'm gonna all balance it, because there is not enough of the time during the day that to do what I all want to do. So for me the hardest part with parenting and family stuff and like all the maintenance around the house and all the maintenance of myself energetically is extremely difficult. Why I'm saying that is because suddenly I went through this like a shift a couple of days ago, that I start surrendering into it. Because I'm Virgo, so I like structure, I organize, and I'm no longer that. I was really forced to be in the flow and really navigating with letting really the higher self to guide me through all this process, and really like surrender and trust is extremely difficult. Like it's not easy. Like what we're gonna it's not easy. We like to have everything under control, but the control doesn't work anymore. So there is something what we meant to understand, which is gonna be coming up. It's either came up already into your life, you already are aware of it, or it is gonna come up like during this summer. Hard to say, like everybody is gonna have it differently. Another thing what comes with it is that you're gonna be pushed into your internal world. So you're gonna be seeing how the internal matrix and the outside matrix is matching or not matching, on where you having certain like imbalances or difficulties to balance things out. And sometimes there's no solution. because I realized that like I was telling to my friend, like I was like, it's like wake up in the morning and having a toolbox full of tools that are blunt, that they're full of knives that they don't chop anything. So we are kind of being forced to show up as well a different way, a new way, your way, based on your experiences. It's like taking out the tools that you were using from a different type of a people, spiritual, I don't know, practices or whatever. And suddenly you realize that you tweak it. I started doing it like a while ago that I sort of, which was quite surprising to me because I was picking it up obviously from the quantum field. Like my yogic practices are designed by Sadhguru, and before the pandemic or during the pandemic, I think last year, he released a new practice, which was interesting enough. I actually put those practices together before. I'm using one of his a mantra, which he's chanting before one of his kriya, because I found it that's a really good combination. And he released it as a practice for like supporting, I think, the medical the people in the medicals, like, you know, during the COVID, when it was really like intense, to raising their vibration. And I actually put those two things together before, even like without having any knowledge whatsoever about yoga. Don't have any, you know, I never read anything about yoga. I never study any yogic practices. Then later, I mean, before the Kundalini awakening, I had zero knowledge about non-physical. I didn't know anything about extraterrestrials. I didn't anything about physics, metaphysics, science, nothing. I was only in the kind of art and what you call it, self-development field, like, you know, like Brendan Bashar and like Tony Robbins and this kind of people. But what happened with the Kundalini, like, you know, if you have a full blast, if you have a fully all your chakras are open and you see them, when you see all your chakras and the channel is like aligned and you working constantly with it, you sort of the things are like, it becomes like a knowingness. You know the things. It's but this is something like you get that you become extrasensory, and the same, like I feel the wind and the rain and the storm. I feel it inside of me. I'm a part of the whole, and the same with these updates. You know, whatever I am telling you, you will hear it from the other energy readers and the people who are having the higher consciousness and are actually working with themselves. Like, you know, because it's like you upload it to the quantum field and they can download it, or they upload it and I download it. So a lot of the information, practically how we are getting it across, is because we are plugged in the collective grid. So whatever information are out there, I'm downloading a lot of things like through this kind of, it's really interesting. And then of course you get you could channel, like you channel guides and you channel new information, but all the information that exists already out there, you can download anything. So it's kind of interesting about how we evolve, and like I needed to understand a lot of these kind of things, because practically I was being put into the field which I didn't know anything about, and I needed to looking on it very differently, because once you become extrasensory, so life had to change dramatically. You cannot go to the public places. It's being overwhelming. A lot of us who are empaths and who are empathic in nature, having all these like chakras, especially if you have a crown chakra open constantly, then you are feeling a lot and you have to sort of customize your life. You need to start living very differently, and it's very difficult because the rest of the world is not living like that. So you cannot go to the public places. my daughter wants to go to the zoo, it would fucking kill me. And you know, I was like, zoo is probably something I'm not sure if I could handle it, you know, and public transports or public places in general, because you practically feel everything. That's why, let's say, for us who are multidimensional, or who understand that they are multidimensional, who are more extrasensory, and who have already these like understanding, that's why it's for us so difficult to, even though we could be like happy, bubbly, and joyful, for us it's very difficult to, I don't want to say maintain it, but I think we all understand that when the world suffers, you suffer too, because you feel it. You cannot be happy, you cannot be joyful. And I had this like constantly. For me, it's very difficult to keep like, I constantly have to watch my negative thoughts about like how all these like extrasensory abilities destroy my life as a human. You know, you cannot have pizza, you cannot have a wine, you cannot go to the fucking pub, you can do anything. So there is something what you meant to understand. Like for me, let's say it was all of these as well things, because it's extremely difficult to actually being so sensitive. It is. And there is a lot of people who are sensitive, and most of the people who I did the reading for, or I help them somehow navigate through the awakening, are extremely sensitive, most of them. So I think we meant to understand something as well about the sensitivity, and we are being pointed into our inner world, and most likely give the steering wheel to our higher self to really show us how we can actually function energetically. Because like my intention, like for a very long time, is like I had a lot of desires that I didn't fulfill, but I know that they still in my mind. It's not that you could get rid of them. Once you don't fulfill them, they're gonna be still there until you fulfill them, and then you can get a new desires. Obviously, it's usually it works this way. But I started to have a different type of desire. I was like, okay, if I can downscale this desire, what my desire would be like right now, and my desire is to get energetically clean, so that I could, to having a life which is designed, that is balanced, for that I could stay energetically clean. So I started approaching the home a little bit more as like the intentional community, even though if it's just like a few of us, like, you know, it's not many of us. I started to parent this way, like a little bit differently. But I started to look, what I have this shift, that we started to having this, like, we had this conversation like openly, like a lot of times. So this is a good thing to have these days. If you are living with somebody who, let's say, if you have a kid together, it doesn't mean that you have to go solo mother and divorce, right? It doesn't have to be that way. You can pioneer. You know, like the people who I lost were two single mothers. Both of them have two kids, and I lost them because they were judging me on how I'm still with him. But I'm with him for a very specific reason, because I cannot provide to my daughter what she needs, because I'm not the type of the person that could give her what he can give her. He is more of like he's a great father, like, you know, he's playing with her a lot. I cannot do, she's got so much fun with him. And it's not me. I cannot provide her with that, because I would be forcing myself to doing it. And I know it's by the society, it's expected by the society to behave that way. But I am not gonna do that. I am not gonna sacrifice myself. You know, it's impossible for me. I can do craft with her, I can do a lot of yoga with her, I can do different type of things with her. And actually, that I started, and now she is actually a little bit better equipped. She knows that like with me she can do these things, with daddy she can do these things, and I see a dove. See, you know, so don't be afraid right now to pay attention to your inner world and having these open conversations with in your household, you know, even with your parents. You can tell them, look, I don't like the way you speak to me like that. What I need from you is to be present and just like stop doing this and that. Just don't be afraid to having these like conversation with the people. Because I think we don't even know how to do the relationships anyway. So I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so what's out there for me? I can go solo mother, like being single mother, getting the money from the government, like a support, and then what? Who else is gonna help me? I have no one here. There's nobody to help me. I have no friends in here. I got no family in here. I don't have any like a touch with the family anyway. So that this that end, my daughter would be more isolated with me anyway. You know, here she's got a friend, she's got a soul daddy who can play with her and thing, and I can still do my work. I can still do my stuff, what I want to do. So then, you know, that's one thing. Staying with that person doesn't help me either, doesn't work for me either. So I had to, you know, and then like, what's the other solution then? That's all there is. That's all we know. You are either from the broken family, or you are staying in a dysfunctional relationship, or you are from the seemingly working family, but that's just an illusion. So what is the other option? The other option is intentional community, or the other option is to being intentional and having really open conversations, saying, look, this is how it is, this is what I need, I cannot do it this way. We can, you know, having certain like agreements. That's a one way how you can actually approach certain difficult relationship right now. But you still have to think about the thing that you need to set some intention about asking your higher self to guide you through what you are in, to align you energetically, you know, so you can drop your desires. Because I could say, oh yeah, I can manifest this, I can manifest that, but I know it would be another just challenge. I need something that's gonna work for me, you know, like there is, of course, we're gonna be watching on some fears. Lot of fears came out, like for me. I was like, okay, so I'm afraid of what? And then I did a lot of shadow work on the fears. So if you are able to do some shadow work on the fears, do the shadow work on the fears, because we are obviously being like redirected inward. Because a lot of us are having like certain gifts that we came here with, or which we developed, or some of us are walkings. So, you know, we are here to do this shit. We have to do some stuff, because a lot of us are here to change the world or help to pioneer in this, and we need certain like environment that we could actually be able to do our work. You know, I'm looking on the bird. It's beautiful. It's doing the hoo. So that is showing up for us. It could be anything. It could be like you might have a, let's say for me, I was thinking about, okay, so what would give me the ability to just like what would support my work, what would give me the what I need right now, like, you know. So I'm just like looking on all sort of like possibilities and solutions and options that I have. I was like, okay, so what it is: car, a second house, obviously, like, because I want a cottage. I always want a cottage all my life. You know, to living in the hills and like in the wilderness, but that works only for me. My daughter doesn't want to live that way. Oh, you know. I cannot just sell her on the internet, obviously. So you see that there we will need to understand things, and oftentimes we have to do like if you cannot find any solution, if you don't see any solution, if you didn't find yet anyone who is actually living certain lives the way you could be actually it could be actually like acceptable for you, because I don't know anyone. So that means you will have to come up with the solution yourself, and that means you will have to sort of do some shadow work on like all sort of like possibilities that you can actually find the solution somehow. And oftentimes you will have to trust and give the steering wheel to your higher self and let your higher self do that for you. Yeah. So that's one thing, we are being redirected inward, that we can actually show up in a very different way. That is gonna be more energetically like aligned with who you really are so far, but we have to first understand certain things. And it's gonna be different for everyone. For me, it was a lot of like a past, my relationship with my mother, me as a being a mother, like, you know, all the parenting stuff, another death. Beautiful. So like for me, I understood that the parenting is playing quite a big role, probably even in my purpose work. I'm still not sure about it, but because my daughter has already the connection with her guides and she sees them, and she has here the abduction mark, which we find out the 22nd of February 2022 at 22:22. Then I am actually being highly aware of the fact that I am growing a very different kid. You know, and that puts a bigger pressure on me, obviously. This is really interesting. Like when you start seeing a lot of other things and you keep reminding yourself about these things, because like I often forget, because we are used to like the world as it is, and all the kids are like, oh yeah, the kids are like this, because we are used to like from the past to looking on the kids that way. But now you're looking on the kids different way. You're looking on them that they are aware of their divinity. They are aware, they are much more multidimensional. They are much more sensitive. They need a very different environment. They struggle more at school. There is a lot of like autistic kids, let's say. And there is a lot of, you know, the world is being a kind of big hot pot. So pay attention to like all this, because we are being really redirected inward to understand something. What I think that's, as I said, it's gonna be individual for each and one of us. A lot of leadership is being supported. We are still going through the identity crisis. There were a couple of things I wanted to talk about, but I forgot. So I leave it here. It's 30 minutes. Be more aware. Like, I think like, I always say that, like, I think awareness is absolutely everything for me. I realized that like, it's a key for me. I am super aware of a lot of things, and I'm still not aware of a lot of things, but I think the awareness is a key. It was 31:13. Anyway, I leave you with these. Pay attention to your inner world, go silence, and maybe pay attention to the shifts that happened with you or inside of you, energetically as well. And there was one more thing I wanted to say, I forgot. Because we becoming more sort of plugged into the entire, I mean, we are already plugged, some of us are already plugged into the collective grid. I mean, if you're able to channel and if you're able to, like, you know, see things, and if your multidimensionality or your psychic gifts really like blossom, then if your crown chakra obviously is open, then you know what I'm talking about. You're gonna be going through this for quite some time, and I think this is gonna be we're gonna be more integrating it. I still didn't integrate it, that's why I am a little bit messy today. But I was thinking to just show up, just to give you a little, because it's Wednesday and I promised myself that I'm gonna keep the spiritual Wednesday, just to giving you a bits and pieces about what is going for us energetically. It is gonna be culminating the energies during the full moon. It's gonna be culminating during the full moon, what is coming the 13th, I think, around that time. And I'm kind of like curious what's gonna happen, because I really feel more in peace. You probably notice I'm softer. I got softer for sure. Something I understood that I cannot shut down my psychic abilities. You know, oftentimes when you go through these shifts, or if it's so drastic, like a Kundalini awakening, there is a period of your time that you try to shut it down. That you're gonna try to go like, I don't like it, you know, I'm feeling too much, it's too difficult, my life is dysfunctional. You know, there is a lot of things where you're gonna go through it, but just to make this clear, you cannot shut it down. It's not possible. So you have to find your way, or like usually like universe delivers you the teachers that you need to hear and understand what is actually going on with you, because oftentimes we don't know what is going on with us. For me, it was the same. It took me 5 years to understand it. I didn't even read one book on yoga. And I didn't know anything about enlightenment and anything about like chakras. I didn't even know they exist. I didn't even know that we have a third eye. I never heard about any psychics, like, you know, none of it. So I hope it helps someone. You know, I mean, it's kind of a message, I don't know, like, you know, we are always being redirected inward. But this time is a little bit different. This time is like, it's really different. I still have to process it and like integrate it to get you a little bit more of the update, I guess. Okay, so I hope this helps. Share it if you think it would help someone. I'm probably gonna write down longer down, like, you know, I'm gonna download some stuff and I'm gonna write it down, because I get some download before the COVID. I completely forgot. That was about that was quite interesting actually. That was about, oh, I don't remember anymore. I just completely lost it. Doesn't matter. All right, so I see you next time, and be good, and stay silent, and pay attention to the as well to the peaceful parts, and pay attention to your resistance. I think that's something that's gonna probably help you to like how to find it, where you are pushing too much, you know, where you are efforting too much, where you are just constantly like, you know, doing and moving and pushing, just like trying to change things, trying to figure things out, like being too much in the mind. Let it all go. Stay still. Yeah, you can tell yourself, okay, now I'm gonna stay still for 2 weeks and see what's gonna happen. Because usually there you shift the fastest. Like we all know that the stillness, like, you know, it's a practice in yoga as well. So I hope it helps to someone, and I will probably do another one this week, I hope. I'm not sure. My daughter is constantly stealing my phone, but because I'm on the phone, So I see how if I can do another one, actually extra one, once I process this one a little bit more. But we are going through a massive shifts, massive ones this time of the year. They're integrating everything what actually went through during the COVID as well, during the pandemic. Whatever you went through internally, and or like you know, as well in the families, or like in the relationships are gonna be playing massive role. I said so, you know. So we are talking about the relationships as well. Relationships especially are involved in this. Okay, I let you go. Be good. Have a good week, and I see you next Wednesday. Hopefully, or maybe earlier. I don't know. I see how fast I can make another update. And I love you. Stay good. Stay cool. Eat clean. Pay attention to your inner world. And I see you next time. Bye.